Hello there, this is Tara McGinnis at Diablo Valley College. This is the tutorial for Easy Gathered Rehearsal Skirt. And what you need for that, if you want to buy your own materials to go and use for the project, so that you can take it home with you, is 3 yards of cotton fabric, at least 36 inches wide. 45 is a good one that you're likely to end up with though, which is better. You need a pencil or chalk that's like regular pencil or chalk for fabric. Either of those will work fine. You need officially 1 yard of 3/4 inch elastic. However, the truth is you could also end up using 1 inch elastic or 1/2 inch elastic if it's sturdy enough. And the reason I listed as 36 is I don't know what your waist size is on the handout, because everybody gets the same handout. What you really need is about 6 inches to 8 inches less than your waist measurement. So 36 inches is a real large amount. We have all sorts of elastic here, so if you're not sure, just come here and we'll give you some elastic. You need 2 large safety pins. Again, here you can go and use that, but if you're watching this tutorial and you are not in my class, I want you to know that this is not a large safety pin. This is a medium safety pin. That'll do if it has to, but what you really want are these big ladies. These pins, these are your friend, and if you can get a couple of those, decent ones, that's what you need. Then you need either a needle and thread if you're crazy and you're going to hand sew it all, or you need thread and a sewing machine. And then you need 2 yards of ribbon. The good news is it can be any width of ribbon. It can be fatter than your casing. It can be skinnier than your casing. It can be satin ribbon. It can be grosgrain ribbon, but it needs to be sturdy ribbon. You don't want to use some sort of translucent mesh kind of ribbon or something that's like package ribbon that'll fall apart. So check and see that it's sturdy. If it's sturdy, you need 2 yards of ribbon, and it doesn't matter what kind. And then the last thing you need is you need a pair of scissors. And for those of you who are starving students, may I highly recommend Harbor Freight Tools 79-cent scissors, perfectly adequate for this project. And you also need a tape measure. Take your 3 yards of fabric and sew the 2 ends of the wrong side of the fabric together in a big tube with a straight stitch, going parallel to the raw edges by 3/8 inch and going from one selvage to 3.5 inches below the other selvage. You could see me going and marking it at 2.5 inches, which turned out to be too short. So do the same way of marking, but you want to go and have it be 3.5 inches. Then you can go and start stitching down the side of the seam at the 3/8, even 1/4 inch, the first seam you go down. I'm not going to show you the whole seam. You'll just watch the beginning and the end. Okay? Here's the beginning. And here we're going to the end. Press open the seam, then press it into a fold with the raw edge inside and the seam stitching on the edge. Here I am pressing the seam open. You should press every seam as you're working on this, and every time you sew, you should stop and press between steps. It seems like you could press it all at the end, but you can't. It's much better if you go and press it as you go along. So here I'm going and flipping over that which I have pressed open and pressing it so that the seam is on the edge in preparation for the next set of sewing. Sew the seam again, this time right side together with a line of stitching 5/8 inch parallel to the first seam. Press everything again, as between all steps. Just go and press that seam that you just seamed again flat. Press the little 3.5 inch bit of fabric at the top of the seam open and tuck the seam allowance under itself and stitch the seam allowances so they will stay open. Fold the top selvage over by 1.5 inches with wrong sides together and press flat. Sew this flap into a 1 inch waistband tube for elastic and ribbon. Press after this step as well as you do with every other step. Measure the distance from your natural waist to the floor and subtract the amount you want it raised from the floor, like 2 inches or 4 inches. This is your waist to hem number. Apply the waist to hem measure number to the skirt. Measure from the bottom of the waistband casing down towards the selvage. Mark with chalk or pencil every 6 inches or so. Fold the hem in on that line and press. Sew this hem up by hand or machine with a large and easy to remove stitch that can be altered for future wearers. Cut the 2 yards of ribbon into 2 1-yard sections. Depending on desired size, cut 24 inches of the elastic for a small woman, 30 for a medium woman, or 36 for a large woman. You can use larger amounts for extra large folks and smaller ones for children. Generally, 6 to 8 inches less than the waist measure is a good amount. Sew the 2 pieces of ribbon to the 2 ends of the elastic. If your ribbon is bigger than your elastic, you just fold the ribbon onto the elastic and stitch back and forth on the elastic. You can stick the ribbon either under or over it, just so long as when you're stitching across, you go across all the parts. Attach the 2 safety pins to the 2 far ends of ribbon. Fasten 1 pin to the French seam allowance at top and push the other end through the waistband tube at the top of the skirt till you have ribbon coming out at both sides of the tube. Get the center of the elastic to stick in the center of the waistband tube and do a little bit of hand stitching or machine stitching to fix it there at the center. Pull more of the ribbon out at both ends and try it on. Remove the safety pins and cut the ends of the ribbon at a sharp pointed angle to reduce unraveling. Fray check or clear nail enamel can also go and help with that. Then tie the ribbons into a bow to adjust the snugness of the waist. And this concludes the easy rehearsal skirt process.